little biz around the corner from fear. I'll be there by next year. Where I'm going, where I'll be. Just a little further and I'll be right there. And then they'll all see.
Yo guys, what's going on? I'm Tim Kelly. This is the Real Sports Talk. Sunday Night Football ends the season with a bang. It was for the NFC East Title, and the Washington Redskins, who were 3-6. Think about that. They were sitting at 3-6 after 9 games, and they are now a 10-6 team headed to the playoffs. They win the NFC East. If you look at what they overcame, at the beginning of the year, the Giants were the defending Super Bowl champions. The Eagles, everyone thought was going to be good. I'm an Eagles fan, so unfortunately for me, that's even more painful to say. And then the Cowboys, we thought were going to be right in the mix. No one had the Redskins going there. I looked at this team, I said, I like the defense, I like RG3, but it's just going to be too much. And then when they lose Brian Orakpo, they lose all these guys early on, you got to give Jim Haslett a lot of credit for what he did to help turn that defense around. And the biggest guy tonight was D'Angelo Hall, shutting down Dez Bryant and putting Tony Romo in a situation where he threw 3 interceptions. Haslett, you got to give a lot of credit for, because the blitzing tonight was tremendous. Tony Romo threw, I believe, all 3 interceptions on all-out blitzes. And, they had no answer to the blitz. Jason Witten really was the only option Tony Romo had tonight, because D'Angelo Hall took out Dez Bryant, and he got injured late in the game. Miles Austin missed a lot of the game with injuries. So all of a sudden, Tony Romo's options were not very high. For the Redskins tonight, you can give all the credit in the world to RG3. He had a great rookie year. I think he probably will win the Rookie of the Year. He's going to the Pro Bowl. Tremendous season for RG3, no doubt about it. But Alfred Morris now finishes second in the NFL, about 500 yards behind Adrian Peterson, but he finishes second in the NFL in rushing with 1,613 yards after a 33-carry, 200-yard performance tonight. Alfred Morris is a huge reason why the Redskins were able to have such success. When people are saying that RG3 put this team on his back, they make it sound like RG3 did not have any help. I love RG3. I love watching the guy. But Alfred Morris was a top 5 running back at times this year, and statistically, he was a top 5 running back. Then you look at who else he has. He has Santana Moss, Pierre Garçon. That's a pretty decent 1-2 combination at the wide receiver position. And then defensively, it's a team that turned this defense around. You have a great leader in London Fletcher, who is 37 years old. It's nice to see him to get another shot to go to the playoffs and maybe get a championship. It's a long shot with the Redskins, but who knows? And then you get to see D'Angelo Hall, a guy who many thought was a bust after it didn't work out real well with Atlanta and with the Raiders. He's really turned his career around. As for Tony Romo and the Dallas Cowboys, I can't put all the blame on Tony Romo tonight. 218 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. But if you look at the way that Tony Romo had played this season, this was a subpar performance in a big game. And that was not something he could have happen. This is the second year the Cowboys are sent home on the final game of the year, Sunday Night Football for the division. Last year it was the Giants, this year it's the Redskins. It's not good enough. You know, Tony Romo he said it to Bob Costas, Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth, how, you know, I'm just one guy, the quarterback doesn't do it all. But that's how it works. Quarterback is the most important position in sports, and you're going to get a ton of the credit when you perform well, which Tony Romo had a tremendous season, probably the best season of his career. You're going to get all that credit when you perform well, but when you struggle, a lot of the blame is going to go on you. And you know, this reminds me a lot of LeBron James in the NBA Finals a few years ago. You can perform great up to that point, but there becomes a point where you continue to reach the same level and it's not good enough. For LeBron James, it was even higher. It was a championship. Tony Romo can't help lead this team to the playoffs. And I think that Tony Romo still probably is the right quarterback for this team, because I don't see them getting a better quarterback, at least not right now, than Tony Romo. That being said, Jason Garrett is really the guy. I think it's time for him to go. And I don't think he will go, because I don't think Jerry Jones wants to bring in a head coach who he has to kind of answer to, a head coach who he has to give any power to. He doesn't want to give up that type of power. And Sean Payton's gone, and all is one of the guys he had interest in. So I think it's very unlikely Jason Garrett does go. But the play calling tonight was horrendous. It put Tony Romo in a position to fail, and that's exactly what happened tonight. He needed to do a better job recognizing the blitz, both Romo and Garrett, and changing up the play calling, running the ball a little bit more. He did not do that, and the Cowboys are headed home on the final game of the season for the second straight year. Washington Redskins, they're headed to the playoffs. Huge second half turnaround. They'll play the Seattle Seahawks next week in their first home playoff game since 1999. Check out h4-entertainment.com. I'm Tim Kelly. This is The Real Sports Talk, and I'll catch you guys later.
Just a little ways around the corner from fear. Be there by next year. Where I'm going.